Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Akmal Bizaki and I'm from Group 3. We are going to talk about is it important to have hobbies? Okay, I'll start. Okay, let's begin with the word hobby. Hobby is a modern word of hobby horse that brings a meaning of favorite pursuit, object or topic outside from our main occupation. In my opinion, it is an intentional distraction from all our responsibilities for a short amount of time. We can enjoy our hobby and have fun doing them, although we're not getting paid or get any reward. We just like doing them because it keeps our head out of any stresses in our life. Me, I like playing online video games with my friends. We play together for 3 to 5 hours straight. Although it sounds time wasting or doesn't bring any benefit, it's just making me happy and getting me out of stress every time I play because I love doing them. So the main question that we are going to talk about today, is it important to have hobbies? For me, yes. How about you, Idul?
Okay, thank you, Akmal. For me, I just think that hobbies are for kids. It is true that most of us have our own favorite activities, such as playing video games, playing football, or going fishing, or even reading. But as time goes by, when we grow up into an adult, most of us will get busy in life, busy with work. Even as a teenagers this day, they are as busy as adults with their homework and assignment. When we grow up, we tend not to have any free time to spend with our hobbies. This is because when we are adult, the priority in life is to make sure our future is guaranteed. We cannot use our working time just to do our hobbies that sometimes can neglect us and make us forget with our work. So I just think that hobbies itself is just a normal activity and not important enough to make it a priority. Moreover, there are certain disadvantages that could affect us if we do not manage our daily activity properly. For example, if someone's hobby is playing video games, if he is too immersed with his hobby, he may end up isolating himself from anybody else. Also, if someone was too focused on their hobby, he may forget about any important job or task that needs to be done. Eventually, his day will pass just like that without him realizing it. That is why I disagree with the statement of hobby is important in life. So I have a question. If I love reading as my hobby when I was a child and now I do not have time to read because I am busy with work, can the reading activity still be considered a hobby?
I'm sorry, but I strongly disagree with your opinion. But first, let me answer your question. If you stop doing something you regularly do before, which in this case we call a hobby, then that activity will not be considered as a hobby anymore. Hobby means something that we regularly do when having leisure time. So, if you stop doing something that you always do before, it will not be considered as a hobby anymore. In my view, I highly think that everyone should have a hobby as it benefits a lot compared to those who do not have one. For example, hobbies actually can help you to have a better sleep. Let me ask you, what do you always do before going to bed? Never mind. I already know the answer. You probably look at your phone, watching television, or look at social media if you are like a lot of people, right? And then it's probably hard for you to fall asleep. Instead of wasting your time doing this stuff, finding a stimulating hobby will slow down your heart rate and decrease the strength of your brain waves at night. This will help you to more quickly fall asleep. Also, feeling the good kind of tired after being active during the day can help you get a more restful sleep. So, if your hobby is more active, like taking a kickboxing class during the day, this can help exhaust your body and prepare it for a good night's sleep. My question is, after hearing my point of view, what do you think about having a hobby? Is it still not important or vice versa?
Okay, firstly, I would like to thank Fali for the good question. Okay, you mentioned that hobby help us to get better sleep, right? But didn't you notice that the hobby itself can lead to having trouble sleeping? This is because if a person is too immersed into their hobby, they will start to lose their sleeping pattern. As for that, in my opinion, having a hobby is a personal choice, and I consider it as not an important method. There are several reasons to back up my opinion. Firstly, hobbies such as skydiving or rock climbing are very dangerous. They may lead to injuries or even death if the person is not trained well. By what I mean by this is that some person they cannot do their hobby every time, so they can only do it regularly during their free time, so they cannot be trained really well. So because of that, when a person get injuries doing the things that they are like hobbies, it will lead to trauma and hence making them or totally stop from continuing the hobby. Okay, next is some hobbies require expensive equipment. As for family, this will be draining the financial of a specific family, such as cycling or drone racing. We need to invest a lot of money to buy the equipment before we can actually enjoy this kind of hobby. Okay. Other than that, they can serve as a procrastination tool, making you delay doing an urgent activity. This is very common when an urgent activity or urgent work that must be done consists of boring stuff, thus making us more attracted to doing things that we like, such as our hobby. This can contribute to the decreasing functionality and the productivity of that particular person. What are your view on my statement, Mukmin?
Okay, thank you, Amirul. Your statement not necessarily and always so, because there are still many hobbies that do not require and involve high cost, risk, and negative things. It depends on ourselves to make the choice and decision. Okay, in my opinion, the importance of this hobby cannot be denied by anyone. This is because hobby has various benefits in our life. Specifically, I would like to discuss the advantage of the hobby in terms of health. Before that, did we ever think about the relationship between hobby and health? In fact, hobby is closely related to our mental health. Why did I make this statement? Before we go any further, our mind must have at least 6 to 7 hours of rest time as sleep time. However, our lives today can no longer have adequate rest. Therefore, what should we do to recover our mind which does not get enough rest to be rehabilitation and re-energized so that we can continue the daily life? Even if we realize where we are not able to replace or accommodate that not enough sleep time for the previous time. The answer is by doing a hobby as our favorite activities. Okay, generally we only saw a hobby closely related to physical activity, but in fact, scientifically, the hobby has recovered and completed our mind's rehabilitation. This is because hobby, which is the favorite activities that we do, can stimulate hormones in our brain. At the same time, the hormones secreted will remove various negative effects in our minds such as stress, depression, emotional instability, fatigue, and so on. The fact is, it is not the hobby that can treat our minds, but with the hobby as favorite activities that we do can stimulate hormones in our brain to be secreted. When we talk about what we like to do, namely hobby, these activities have their own specialty, which is different from the other activities that we do every day, whether work or tasks, willingly or not willingly. The favorite activities can rehab our minds because the negative hormonal stimuli in our mind and body have secreted and particularly changed our mind to be positive, controlled, relaxed, and cheerfulness. Clinical psychologist Farah Putri Negara Ahmad Bahrom Titingan says hormonal changes are among the probabilities of a person with emotional problems. There are 4 types of hormones in our brain that affect us, namely dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. Okay, in conclusion, I strongly agree that hobby is very important in person's life that can remain a positive mindset as well as being physically fit. Okay, that's all from me.
Okay, thank you everyone for participating in this talk. Thank you.